Muzan once carelessly created one of the most powerful demons, and then completely forgot about him, unaware that this very demon would eventually lead to his downfall. If you recall from Season 1, Muzan had turned a man into a demon simply to distract Tanjiro and make his escape. Later on, it was revealed that Lady Tamayo managed to stabilize this demon using Nezuko's blood. While he didn't fully return to being human, he was able to survive on just a minimal amount of human blood, sourced easily from blood banks. Initially, it seemed like the demon Muzan had created was nothing more than a minor obstacle, but everything changed during Episode 8 of the Hashira training arc. We witnessed countless spikes restraining Muzan, giving Lady Tamayo the opportunity to inject her deadly poison into him. Muzan was stunned when he recognized the blood demon art being used against him. Lady Tamayo then revealed the shocking truth. It was the power of the very demon Muzan had once created as a mere distraction, now sealing his fate. Was Kagaya's choice to sacrifice himself and his family really foolish? Some argue that Kagaya Ubuyashiki made a reckless decision by choosing death just to wound Muzan, suggesting he could have faked his death and triggered the explosion without losing his life. But personally, I believe Kagaya's plan was incredibly wise. He knew he was already living on borrowed time, and his ultimate mission was to stop Muzan, no matter the cost. By remaining inside the mansion, he convinced Muzan that he was vulnerable and easy prey, causing Muzan to lower his defenses and step right into the ambush. There's another crucial detail. Nakime. Her eyes were constantly monitoring everything. If Kagaya hadn't been present, Nakime would have detected the trap immediately and warned Muzan, ruining the entire strategy. Kagaya's presence was essential to deceive both Nakime and Muzan. His sacrifice bought Lady Tamayo and Gyome the precious time they needed to prepare, allowing Tamayo to successfully inject Muzan with the poison, a critical step toward his downfall. In the end, Kagaya didn't just give his life to injure Muzan. He ensured the Demon Slayer Corps had a real chance at victory. His death was heartbreaking, but it was also powerful and absolutely necessary. What if Yoriichi Type 0 had to battle the Upper Moon demons? Could it possibly defeat them? When Tanjiro faced off against Yoriichi Type 0, he could barely hold his ground and was pushed to the brink of death. And remember, at that point Tanjiro was nearly at the strength of a hashira. This mechanical doll was built specifically to replicate Yoriichi's overwhelming power, and with its 6 arms, it's a nightmare to deal with. However, if it were thrown into a real fight against the Upper Moons, the result might not be what we imagine. Despite showcasing incredible strength against the Mist Hashira, Yoriichi Type 0 is still just an aging, worn-out machine. Its ability to react and predict an opponent's moves is flawed, leaving critical openings in battle. Against the might of the 12 Kazuki, it would likely be outmatched and easily destroyed. Why is mastering the first form of thunder breathing so incredibly hard? Thunder breathing is one of the oldest techniques, dating all the way back to the Sengoku era. Even Jigoro, the former Thunder Hashira, admitted that the first form is so challenging that many Thunder Hashiras before him couldn't fully master it. Interestingly, even Kaigaku, after turning into a demon, failed to learn it. The real reason behind its difficulty lies in the insane physical demands it places on the body. It requires explosive strength and flexibility in the legs to achieve movements as fast and sharp as lightning itself. Zenitsu managed to perfect it, but only after being struck by lightning, which not only turned his hair yellow but also supercharged his muscles to an extraordinary level. Let's dive into why there's no Upper Moon 5 anymore. During the Hashira training arc, we saw Nakami promoted to Upper Moon 4, and Kaigaku given the title of Upper Moon 6. But curiously, no demon ever took the spot of Upper Moon 5. And here's a likely explanation. Nakimi had proven herself to be Muzan's most valuable demon. In a short time, she achieved what even the strongest Upper Moons and Muzan himself couldn't accomplish for centuries. Plus, Nakimi served directly as Muzan's right hand, so promoting her to Upper Moon 4 was a move she absolutely earned. Meanwhile, Kaigaku, despite being far weaker than someone like Yutaro, was granted the position of Upper Moon 6. This wasn't because of his strength, but because Muzan had already wiped out all the lower moons. Even though Muzan knew Kaigaku wasn't truly Upper Moon material, keeping only one lower moon alive wasn't ideal, so he gave him the lowest Upper Moon rank. As for Upper Moon 5, no demon in Muzan's ranks was powerful enough to deserve it. So rather than fill it with someone unworthy, Muzan simply left the position empty. Ever wonder why Inoske always chips his swords? Right after receiving his new blade, he immediately grabbed a rock and smashed it against the sword until the entire edge was jagged. And there's actually a fascinating reason behind it. Inoske believes that the rough, serrated edges make him look even more intimidating and allow his strikes to tear through demons effortlessly. Getting slashed by his blade is like being shredded by 1,000 tiny knives, which even demons find terrifying. Just like other demon slayers, whose swords perfectly match their fighting style, Inosuke's blade reflects his wild, feral nature. However, there's a downside. While the chipped design gives him incredible cutting power, it also weakens the sword, making it prone to breaking during prolonged battles. Among all the hashiras, there's one who developed the deepest bond with Nezuko, even stronger than Giyu or Mitsuri's connection to her. Some might argue otherwise, considering the adorable friendship between Mitsuri and Nezuko, or the fact that Giyu was the very first hashira to accept Nezuko, even risking his life to prove she wasn't a threat. But there's one hashira whose care goes even beyond that. Sanemi. Now before you start throwing stones at me, hear me out. When Sanemi first met Nezuko, he was filled with rage. But that anger came from a place of deep pain. Having lost his own mother to demons, Sanemi carried the heartbreak of wishing she had been like Nezuko, a demon who could have lived peacefully. That was all before the Great Battle. After the Infinity Castle War, Sanemi not only apologized to Nezuko, but his actions showed a surprising transformation. He grew genuinely attached to her, treating her like a little sister. And knowing Sanemi, a man who doesn't take anything lightly, that bond ran deep. Nezuko's kindness melted his hardened heart, and in the end, Sanemi became someone who would do anything to protect her. Muzan's relationship with his daughters is a complex one, and it's hard to pinpoint whether he truly cared for them or just saw them as tools for his experiments. While Muzan was driven by an obsession with immortality, we can infer that despite his inhumanity and lack of emotions, there may have been a small part of him that still held some level of attachment to his daughters, though this attachment was far from conventional. Muzan was always looking for ways to secure immortality, and his daughter's immunity to sunlight was a key factor in his experiments. Yet, despite this, Muzan never fully absorbed them like he did with other demons, such as Nezuko. This raises the question of why he didn't treat them like mere experiments or potential power-ups. It could be that Muzan tried to do so before, only to fail in the process. After all, his pursuit of immortality was filled with many failed experiments. Alternatively, there's a more unsettling possibility. That Muzan, who had long lost his humanity, still had some faint remnants of emotional ties left, perhaps toward his daughters, and that prevented him from eliminating them like he did with others. In the end, Muzan's actions toward his daughters could be a mix of calculation and the faintest trace of what might have been the human emotions he lost when he became a demon. Though he might have considered them valuable assets, it's also possible that he couldn't fully sever himself from whatever attachment, however minimal, he still had left. Did you know that each of Tanjiro's companions in Demon Slayer has a unique and hidden skill? Let's start with Tanjiro himself. He has an extraordinary sense of smell, which allows him to detect weak points in demons and serves as an early warning system when they're nearby. This ability has saved his life countless times. Then there's Zenitsu, who possesses incredible hearing. His sense of hearing is so sharp that he can sense a person's emotions just by the vibrations their body produces. Interestingly, when Zenitsu falls asleep, his hearing reaches even greater levels, making him an unstoppable force in battle. As for Genya, his exceptional sense of taste is what sets him apart. By consuming the flesh of demons, he can transform into one himself, a fact showcased during the Swordsmith Village arc. Kanao, on the other hand, has unparalleled vision. She can detect the fastest movements, a talent so remarkable that even Upper Moon 2, Doma, acknowledges it. Lastly, Inosuke is blessed with the most refined sense of touch. He can feel the slightest changes in his surroundings by touching the ground, allowing him to track movement with exceptional precision, perhaps the best tracker in the group. Why is Gyomei the sole user of stone breathing in the current lineup of hashira? There are a few important factors to consider. First, it's essential to understand that stone breathing is one of the oldest techniques, originating during the Sengoku period. The first individual to master this style, Kazuyoshi, also holds the title of the first ever hashira in the Demon Slayer Corps. He was regarded as the strongest demon slayer of his time until both Yoriichi and his brother joined the Corps. Despite this, Kazuyoshi retained his position as the leader of the hashira, and Yoriichi held him in high esteem. The stone-breathing style was created by Yoriichi specifically for Kazuyoshi due to his massive physique, similar to Gyomei's, allowing him to reach unparalleled strength. Fast forward to the present, and Gyomei is the strongest hashira in the current timeline, demonstrating that only the most physically and mentally powerful individuals can harness stone breathing. This technique's immense difficulty is one reason why most candidates fail to become the Tsuguko of the stone hashira. For example, we know that Genya, despite his dedication to becoming Gyomei's Tsuguko, was never chosen by Gyomei. The reason? Gyomei recognized that Genya wouldn't be able to endure the rigorous training required to master such an intense breathing style. Did you know that Tanjiro holds the distinction of being the only demon slayer in history to master multiple breathing styles? Unlike Yoriichi, the original user of breathing techniques who exclusively wielded sun breathing, Tanjiro has shown an extraordinary ability to adapt and utilize various styles in battle. Yoriichi may have taught 5 distinct breathing styles to the most powerful demon slayers of the Sengoku era, but he never deviated from his own. Tanjiro, on the other hand, can seamlessly copy and apply different breathing techniques during combat. We've seen him replicate Zenitsu's thunder breathing in his battle against Huntengu, using it to enhance his speed. Not only that, but he also combines sun breathing and water breathing in his fights. While Tanjiro isn't a hashira, it's worth noting that he is the only demon slayer who has faced 5 out of the 12 Kazuki, managing to defeat every one of them before the Infinity Castle War.